Welcome to the Non-Negotiables podcast. Welcome one, welcome all. Driving down Card Sound Road in the Keys, surrounded by mangroves. Lots of time to think. As I've gotten older, I've come to some pretty stark realizations. My own mortality, for one. The fact that I'm going to die. As I've grown closer to God in my Christian faith, I made some other realizations. My life is not the most important thing. My pleasure is not the most important thing. After 20 years of marriage, I've also realized a few other things, like real joy comes from making others happy. And it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride because I was a child of the 80s. Satan's most enjoyable decade, I believe. Do as thou wilt will be the whole of the law. That was sort of the whole feeling growing up. I remember probably for the first time in human history, young people had this notion of, parents, you can't tell me what to do. The TV shows went from the parents were always right and the kids would learn hard lessons to the kids would radically rebel, and at the end of the movie or the show, the kids were right. The parents were the idiots, and the parents would learn a lesson. And so for me, it's been a shocking discovery that my will and my fleshly desires and my hedonistic tendencies, they're not only not the meaning of life, they strip meaning from your life. The more you seek out those pleasures and those endeavors, the less meaning you find in life. And so I think that's borne out by the happiness polls that are taken every year. And we see as technology rises, as people have more and more disposable income and more free time, as people have less children and are less married, as people have more sexual partners, as people indulge in mind-altering drugs more and more, as it has become more openly acceptable, as pornography has become ubiquitous, as all of our flesh is poured into and satiated. Those polls, those happiness polls, keep showing us getting unhappier and unhappier. We keep seeing the suicide rates rise and rise. And so you gotta wonder. Why don't you wonder if you haven't wondered? What the hell is the meaning of life? For all of human history, eating was difficult. Having children that live was a chore, was hard to do. It was not unusual for a family to lose 50% of their kids. And we're talking about for 95% of human history, people. We've solved those issues. We solved those issues in like the deserts of Pakistan. forget here in the U.S. In the U.S., it's an astonishing community traumatizing thing to have a family lose a child. And yet we're unhappier. And yet we find ourselves morally bereft, more violent, more broken. So I wonder, what is the meaning of life? And it's interesting, the answer to that question was handed to our mutual ancestors, Adam and Eve. They got the answer to that question right up front. It's amazing, I know many of you don't believe in God, and I'm sad for you. And I don't mean that in a patronizing way. I mean that in I love you. And the creator of the universe loves you too. And it would be sad, truly sad, if you went this whole life without meeting him. But that aside, it's incredible that in his kindness, he gave us the answer to the question he knew we'd all ask. What is the meaning of life? His answer to that question was, be fruitful and multiply. That's it. Be fruitful. Bear fruit. Like a fruit tree bears fruit. Ideally good fruit, but fruit. Do something of value. Create value. Take the raw ingredients, like a tree does. It takes the raw ingredients of carbon dioxide and sunshine and nitrogen and calcium and minerals from the dirt, and it takes these things and within it forms those elements and produces something unique to it. Molded, formed, created, and usable. Usable, most importantly. I watch kids these days, this day and age, those videos of the little kid that loses at Fortnite or whatever game they're playing now. And they're playing and they lose and they freak out and they, whoa! And they throw their control at the TV and they shatter a widescreen TV. And you wonder, what could bring a child to that kind of rage? And I think I know. I think that in their soul, in their thousands of years of human genetic memory, there is this desire, this drive to struggle, to be fruitful. And I don't think the brain has caught up to the reality of our current existence. I don't think the brain has caught up and said, you know what, this is just a video game. I think the brain really does believe it's in war. It really does believe it's mining for gold. And so to fall into a pit of lava, it's not just a so what, I wasted a few minutes and I've lost a life or whatever. I believe that on your deep subconscious level, you have this be fruitful impulse. that is just devastated when your effort to bear that fruit ends. But even when they win, why are teenagers with all of their perks and all of their benefits still miserable? I believe it still has to do with all of that. I think that as they go through their day, producing nothing real, constantly entertained, but ultimately not being fruitful, ultimately going to bed that night after 15 or 18 hours of a lot of mental exertion, a lot of fun, but ultimately going to sleep again, having created nothing, having produced nothing. I believe that the soul inside of them cries out, you're missing the meaning of life. I know some 30-somethings, hell, some 40-somethings in my life who haven't created anything or done anything truly fruitful in decades. The last big thing they did was get a high school diploma. Of course they're miserable. Of course they're miserable. They're missing out on 50% of the formula for the meaning of life. And so that's A, be fruitful and multiply. Multiply. How do you multiply? For all of human history, we had that right. And now, for some reason, we've decided to turn it on its head. For all of human history, we've known find a wife, pair with her, and then do the one thing humans can do that approximates living forever, which is have children. Create a new, almost subspecies of human that is unique from all other humans that have ever lived or ever will live. The offspring, the genetic melding of these two people who have decided to come together for the purposes of living and doing life together and multiply. And you can look up all the polls you want and you'll see time and time again married people who've never been divorced and have children are the happiest people. They could struggle. They could be financially broke. They could go through ups and downs. God knows that's the story of my wife and I's life. But ultimately happy. Ultimately doing that thing that is the meaning, that gives life meaning. And now we're watching young people, the same depressed young people saying, I'm never getting married. I'm not having kids. You got young women in their prime getting their tubes tied. Abortion. Running rampant. And it's not enough to take a morning after pill. No. I need to be able to cut this little sucker's head off at 8 months, at 9 months. I can't be happy unless I have the right to kill this life within me. That goes against your designed purpose. That flies in the face of the literal meaning of your life. But that's what you want to do? That's where what you call happiness? Maybe we got it all wrong. Matter of fact, I know for a fact we have it all wrong. Or those of us who think this way have it all wrong. I know it's tough. I know it's hard. I know the prospect of marriage, especially for men, you're watching an unfair system where you're basically asking to be put in a situation that you're going to be the bad guy if it goes bad. You're going to lose your kids if it ends. That doesn't mean you should shy away from fulfilling your destiny and doing what you know you need to do to make this life worthwhile. And if you don't know it now, I promise you, by the time you're my age, you'll know. There's few things sadder than a person in their 40s who is childless and spouseless. And they come to terms. It hits them in the face. They realize, holy crap, I got no options here. I got 40 more years of life to go, and I got nobody to do it with. I got nobody to call my own. I got no kids. My buddy, his oldest is going off to college. He's got legacy. He's got a future. The last 10, 15, 20 years of his life, he'll have little grandkids to play with. Looking in the eyes of those people that are coming to that realization is like looking into the bowels of hell. Devoid and desperate. But I know somebody who, she's 50, she says the best thing that she ever did was to never have kids. Okay, fine. Can a person exist that bucks all of human history and all of the natural impulse of humanity? Yeah, you can have that. You also have people out there that enjoy murdering and eating people's livers. I mean, that happens too. I don't think we organize society around those people. I mean, look at the Aztecs. They tried and didn't go well for them. No, I think we organize society around what generations upon generations of people have shown us works. We organize society around a living God that when you study what he's got to say, it's pretty based. Pretty based. I don't know. That's what I believe wholeheartedly is the meaning of life. Let me know if you guys agree. Put it down in the comments section. Share this channel. If you've made it 18, 19 minutes into this video, I thank you. Share this video. Share this video with some young people in your life. They need it. They need to hear it. You know, they need to hear, hey, it's okay. You can buck all of Hollywood, all of the music industry, all of the influencers on Instagram. If you, in your heart, you feel that pull towards traditional values, that doesn't make you a weak person. That makes you the future. That makes you the only hope our species has. Encourage them. Support them. Maybe we can turn this thing around. Or maybe there'll be something left after this thing falls apart to rebuild with. Either way, the only thing I don't want is for it to be totally vaporized. The only thing I don't want is a bunch of Instagram stars deciding which direction this whole thing takes. They don't have guns anyway. I don't think they'll make it. All right, well, this has been the Non-Negotiables podcast for rush hour drive time. catch you all in the next one.